Hi guys, today I'm going to explain some things about components of food. So, I guess you can eat something and watch this video at the same time if you are really picky about learning and eating at the same time, because we are going to talk about food. So, we are also going to talk about a balanced diet in the video, and we are also going to answer some questions. So, let's start. Shall we? Come. Let's learn this interesting topic together and explore everything about it. Okay. So, the essential components. So, we are now going to learn about the essential components of food. They are carbohydrates. You also need proteins for that, and there are so many stuff. And there's just so much stuff. There are so many components like carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. You also have, and I will say that you need them in small amounts. They are vitamins and minerals. So now we are going to learn about the essential components of food. Okay, so food groups. So energy giving food. Energy giving food, as you have already guessed by the name, they give you energy. So if you really want to kind of categorize it into energy giving and bodybuilding and just protective food, you just can't see the protective part over here. And that's protective. Okay, so protective food. So they are energy giving, bodybuilding, and protective. I just remember it like that. I put that food after that. So if you kind of think about it and if you visualize it, you need carbohydrates and fats for energy. If you go to bodybuilding foods, you need proteins for that. Ever seen a bodybuilder drinking milk or eating meat? Yeah, they are taking proteins by that. And as you know, I drink 2 glasses of milk every day. Just to intake that protein amount and protect the food. What do they do? Okay, I'll tell that to you. So protective food actually, what does it do? It protects our body against diseases. So they are vitamins and minerals. Where do you get them from? From fruits, of course. Carbohydrates. Okay. Carbohydrates can be of many different kinds. So by carbohydrates, you could mean starch, you can even mean sugar. You have a lot of kinds, okay? So carbohydrates, let's see what the computer has to say. Carbohydrates provide energy so the carbohydrates produce energy for the body to do work. It's the most easily available form of energy. So you might have thought of this. So why don't we eat fats? Well, things that you need a little more carbohydrates, since excess fat intake can be stored in the body, and if you intake carbohydrates, it would be much healthier. Okay, because most forms of fats are unhealthy. Only the fats found in nuts and things are healthy. Carbohydrates give us energy for our body to do work, but proteins also play an important role. So let's go to proteins. Fats are also energy yielding nutrients. So they also give our body energy like carbohydrates did, as we learned. So carbohydrates give our body energy, and fats also give us energy. But the thing is, we should intake more carbohydrates than fats. So they provide more energy than carbohydrates for sure, but maybe we might be intaking some unhealthy fats or maybe more fats than we need. Some sources are butter. Well, you knew that. Did you know that cream also gives us some fat? Cheese also have it. My a cheese sandwich. Okay, getting away from components. Proteins are building blocks of the body. So what does this mean? Proteins help our body to grow and repair and things like that. They help in growth and repair of damage in the body. So let's say you are playing somewhere and you wound yourself. So if you get a wound, it's very important to heal it so that not a lot of blood can escape. So if you want that to happen, proteins help the skin to grow back. But let me tell you something. Maybe you might get a little disappointed. The part of skin that heals is a little weaker than the previous. The skin which grew before that. So that part of the skin will be a little weaker, but not very weak. Okay? Plant sources of proteins. Okay. Now you might like this because if you are a vegetarian, you also need to eat some proteins, right? Okay, so vegetarians, what they can eat for proteins, some examples are, if you want to take pulses, it says soybeans. Well, soybeans are a very good example. I've always wished to eat those soya beans. There are also peas. Wow, peas have them too. Did you know that? I knew that all along. So, nuts. There are a lot of nuts for proteins. I knew that groundnut before. And walnuts, well, they have them too. And finally, cereals. Well, you know what cereals are, don't you? No, not those ones on TV. So, wheat meals. I knew wheat had them. Okay. Sorry, animal sources of proteins. You know them. Milk. That's the obvious one, right? And cheese. What? When I eat my cheese sandwich, I'm also eating some proteins. Okay? Meat is obvious, like fish and, well, poultry meat. And eggs. Well, I knew that, but not the yolk, silly. It has cholesterol. Getting into vitamins now. There are so many kinds of vitamins. And you see this vitamin B right here? It ranges from vitamin B1 all the way to vitamin B12. Phew, that's a long journey. So, vitamins are protective foods. You knew that. We talked about it a little before. And they're required by the body in a very small amount. Hey, everybody knows that. We're gonna learn about... Okay, I'm just gonna tell this to you. Vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, and vitamin D. And vitamin E again. Okay? So, vitamin A, well, I knew tomatoes had them. And wait, did you know that mangoes have vitamin A too? So, okay, I love carrots. It has fish and milk and eggs. I knew eggs had them too. Yum, yum, yum. Okay. B. Vitamin B has so many sources, but vitamin B, I told that you already. Vitamin B1, vitamin B2, B3, B12. Well, these are the main ones, ranging from B1 to 12, maybe. I knew that. Well, that's what happened. I just ran into a random book, looked at it, and just found vitamin B1 over there. Not even vitamin B2. Yeah, vitamin C. What's the first thing that comes to your mind, which is vitamin C? Oranges? Yep. Did you know that strawberries have almost, 2 times the amount of vitamin C in an orange? Okay, so this definitely shows oranges here. All these are citrus fruits, there's tomatoes too. So especially citrus fruits have vitamin C, so make sure for that regular intake of, well, strawberries if you like it. Don't eat oranges anymore if you don't like oranges. Well, vitamin D. Huge ball of sun, of fire in the sun. I mean that, okay? Huge ball of fire in the sun. Okay, the huge ball called the sun. Well, that might not be a food item. So maybe you're a little bit surprised that, well, since the sun is not a food, how can it find its way into components as a food? It has, well, if it comes in contact with our body, of course, it produces vitamin D. And when, well, you know that vitamin D is very essential for our body, right? So, since it is a component of food, since it is found in food too, it's the sun is also included in this chapter, okay? Maybe you don't like this bit of information. Just telling you to this. Vitamin E. So, just for fun, I'll ask you a question. Which one is your favorite vitamin? Okay? Just keep in mind that your favorite vitamin is very important. So, vitamin E, it is found in many food items. I'm just mentioning a few. You can find it in some kinds of greens. You can find it in some eggs. There are many sources. No, I wrote down that one. I wrote down tomatoes. I wrote down tomatoes because that's my favorite one among all of these. You see this one? That's egg yolk. Egg yolk has a 2, but you can say that it has a lot more cholesterol. Minerals. Maybe you find minerals more complicated, or maybe vitamins more complicated. I find vitamins more complicated. You know why? Because you have to remember, you need to remember more types of vitamin B. Vitamin B1, remember that, keep it in mind. Vitamin B2, remember that, keep it in mind. Vitamin B3, remember that and keep it in your mind. Vitamin B12, keep it in mind. Yeah. So minerals are also protective foods. You know, protective foods, right? It's like vitamin, and they're like vitamins, but you know, they are more like, you know, metals or stuff like that. It is not really organic. For example, you cannot find you cannot say that iron, well, you cannot say that, well, I mean, we need iron, and I'm not talking about chewing an iron rod here. So, iron can be found in our foods, but you cannot say that living things are made up of iron, can you? So, what is iron? It is not something that is like, it is a component of food, but yeah, it doesn't sound like it's a component of food at all. That's why it's a mineral. And you know what minerals are, right? It can even be found in water, like pond water and river water and things like that. So iron. So iron is necessary for the manufacture of hemoglobin in blood. So if your iron level goes down, you're going to have problem with hemoglobin. Of course, some diseases can even lead to stuff like, you know, anemia. Anemia, even it causes levels of hemoglobin decrease in the blood. Now we have calcium, proper growth of bones and teeth. Well, if you knew that our bones are made up of calcium and so are our teeth. And did you know that our nails have keratin mixed with calcium? It has keratin too. Well, rest they would become really hard to trim off or cut off. What's its function? So phosphorus, well, it's required for proper growth of the bones and teeth. So you can see that both of them share a relation. Like calcium and phosphorus, they kind of do the same job. Both of them team up together, kind of. Do you know how to make regular intake of fluorine? Well, you can drink water with fluorine. Sorry. So it also helps prevent tooth decay since it kind of binds with stuff in our teeth, and I'm not going to go too deep into that or else we can never ever finish this chapter. It even says proper growth of bones and teeth. I don't know why it says bones, but yeah, it does help. So it does help in proper growth of them, but you can see that fluorine plays a bigger role in keeping our teeth safe from tooth decay. Next we have iodine. Where do we get iodine from? Come on, tell me. It's a very easy question. Come on, iodized salt. Okay, so it's needed for the proper functioning of nerves and muscles. So next, we're good to go. So many minerals and hey, I just told you from where you can get iodized salt. You knew that one all along, right? And seafood. Your question must be, why should I take seafood for iodine? That's a very good question. Tell me, why is the seawater salty? Why is seawater salty? Since it has a lot of salt, right? So that's why it contains iodine. If I wanted to tell you the simple answer, of course there's a lot more into this. There's a lot more of science which goes into this. And garlic also contains iodine. Wow, did you know that? Said that they are the best source of potassium. Okay, so calcium, you knew that in this one, eggshells always have them, and milk has them too. There are the fibers in the food that we take or rough it, and they also form an important part of our diet. They add bulk to the food, and well, that's a little gross. They make sure that our bowel movements are going right all day. They help clear out the digestive system. So both of them mean the same thing, proper functioning. So what it means by proper functioning here is the clearing of it. So if you don't eat if you don't eat a particular nutrient for a long amount of time, you're gonna get these deficiency diseases. This usually happens due to not regular intake of proteins. So if you don't eat proteins, the deficiency disease is gonna become kwashiorkor.
To define balanced diet, what is called a balanced diet?
Okay, so a balanced diet. A balanced diet is a diet containing the right amounts of vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and all of the nutrients.
Why is it necessary to eat a balanced diet?
It is necessary to eat a balanced diet so that we don't get deficiency diseases.
How can you test the presence of proteins in a given food item?
Yes. You just need a small quantity of a food item, And if it's a solid, you also need some water, copper sulfate, and caustic soda. So, take a small quantity of a food item. If it's a solid, then grind it and then mix it in water. And then put the small amount of grinded food in the test tube. Then put a little bit of water and then shake well till it's kind of like a gooey mess. Then put some caustic soda and then mix. Then put the copper sulfate and then mix well. Can you see something like Can you see something like a purple color in the test tube? If you can see a purplish color in the test tube, it means that the food has proteins in it.
You know,
Deficiency.
our government has taken a scheme to.
Yes, midday meal.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.